The message arrived at 11:47 on a Tuesday night. I was still in my office, staring at spreadsheets that glowed blue against the glass walls. Numbers never yelled. People did. My phone buzzed again. Dad, we're selling the house tomorrow. Your things will be on the curb. Don't bother coming by. I read it twice. The words didn't sting immediately, they landed like ice, slow to melt. My hands hovered above the keyboard. Then I typed back one word. Okay. I leaned back in my chair. The hum of the city pressed through the windows, distant and mechanical. Somewhere, a memory cracked open the smell of sawdust in the garage, my father's voice booming behind me. You can't build a future playing with computers. Evelyn, he'd said, wiping sweat from his brow. Real work happens with your hands, not a keyboard. I had smiled then, holding up a circuit board like it was proof of a dream. This will build more than houses one day. He laughed, rough and certain. You're wasting your time. That was 15 years ago. The screen of my phone lit again. A second message, and don't expect any support from us. You've been nothing but a disappointment. Time to face the real world. I set the phone face down. The edge of anger cut through the calm, but only for a moment. I'd learned to let it pass. In the reflection of the glass, I saw myself 32. Hair pulled back, gray suit immaculate. The logo of Sterling Tech Solutions faintly visible on the wall behind me. The company had been my whole world for 8 years. Built from sleepless nights and code lines no one cared to understand. Not even him. For 3 years. My parents had lived in the old house on Maple Street believing it was still theirs, believing they were paying off a mortgage that no longer existed. Every payment they made went into a retirement fund under their names. I never told them. I never told anyone. The office clock clicked over to midnight. I opened a folder on my laptop labeled Sterling Properties LLC. Their address appeared on the screen. Neat and ordinary. Mortgage paid. Taxes current. Title mine. I read the message again. Your things will be on the curb. The absurdity almost made me smile. They were threatening to throw me out of a house I owned. I stood, gathering my files. Tomorrow would not be about revenge. It would be about truth and truth. I'd learned, could be sharper than any blade. As I shut off the lights, the city reflected back at me in silver streaks. I whispered to no one. Tomorrow should be interesting. By morning, the sting of the text had turned into focus. I arrived at the office before sunrise, coffee in hand, and opened the Sterling Properties files. Maple Street glowed on the screen like a reminder of everything I had both lost and protected. 3 years ago, when Thomas Carter Construction began to crumble, the bank had sent a notice of foreclosure. I'd found it through a public record alert tied to our family name. My father never mentioned it, too proud to admit he was drowning. I remembered sitting in the same office, looking at the numbers, how easily pride could bankrupt a man. I called the bank myself. I want to purchase the mortgage, I told the agent. She hesitated. Miss, that's over $340,000 in principal and another $67,000 in penalties. I'll wire the funds today. By evening, the house was mine. Through my holding company, no names attached. I let them stay. No rent. No warnings. Each payment they sent believing it went to the bank was redirected to a trust fund under their names. I wanted them to feel secure, not indebted. My assistant, Maya, entered quietly. You've got that investor call in 10 minutes. Reschedule it, I said. Something's come up. She paused. Everything okay, family business? The words tasted bitter. I opened the payment record from the past 3 years. Every deposit sat untouched in the trust, nearly $90,000 waiting for the 2 people who thought I had failed them. My phone buzzed again. Another message from my father. We're listing the property this week. Don't make things difficult. The irony twisted through me like heat. He was selling the house he didn't own. I typed a reply, then stopped. Instead, I locked the phone and closed my laptop. I'd learned that silence carried more weight than any defense. Maya lingered by the door. Do you want me to call your parents about the new contract announcement? No, I said. They wouldn't believe it anyway. She gave a small nod and left. I stood by the window, watching sunlight creep over the skyline. Somewhere on Maple Street, my father was preparing to sell the house I had saved, and he still thought I was the disappointment. By the time I reached the office, my phone had already lit up with 3 missed calls from an unfamiliar number. When it rang again, I answered. Miss Carter, a calm male voice said, "This is Daniel Pierce from Maple Realty. We have a situation regarding the property at 1247 Maple Street." My pulse steadied. Go on. There's a man here claiming ownership. He wants to list the house for sale immediately. I closed my laptop slowly. Would that man's name be Thomas Carter? Yes, ma'am. I took a breath. Put him on speaker. Please. There was shuffling, the faint creak of a chair. Then came my father's voice, sharp and impatient. Look, I don't know who this Sterling person is, but I own this house free and clear. My family has lived here 15 years. I'm listing it for $850,000. Daniel's tone stayed professional. Mr. Carter, I've reviewed the county records. The deed shows ownership under Sterling Properties, LLC. That's a mistake, my father barked. I have the deed right here in my files. That document shows your original purchase from 2009, Daniel said carefully. But the title was transferred in 2021 after your company defaulted on the mortgage. For a moment, no one spoke. I could almost hear the silence crush him. Defaulted, my father repeated, quieter now. That's impossible. Daniel's voice softened. It's public record, sir. I spoke, my tone even. Daniel, thank you for handling this with the discretion. Please give Mr. Carter my direct number. Tell him the property owner would like to discuss the matter personally. My father's voice cracked through the line. Who the hell are you to talk like that? You don't own this house. I built it. I paid for every nail. I didn't answer. I ended the call. A few seconds later, the phone rang again. I let it ring until it stopped. Maya appeared at the door, holding a folder. Bad timing. Perfect timing. I said, could you send Daniel a thank you email? Add that I'll handle the client directly? She raised an eyebrow. The client being your father. Yes. She hesitated, then nodded. Do you want me to prepare anything? Just the truth, I said. I think it's time he heard it. As she left, my phone vibrated again, this time a message. Dad, you've crossed a line. I'm calling the bank myself. I typed one word and deleted it, then another. Nothing fit. He was still fighting for control of a house he'd already lost. I turned off my phone, leaned against my desk, and whispered to the empty room. Call the bank. Dad. They'll tell you exactly who owns your house. The call came less than 20 minutes later. My phone vibrated across the desk, his name flashing on the screen. Dad, I let it ring twice before I answered. What the hell is going on? His voice exploded through the speaker. Who is this Sterling Properties? How did they get my house? I kept my tone even. Hello? Dad. The silence stretched so long I thought the call had dropped. Then came the disbelief. Evelyn. You know about this, I do, I said quietly. His breathing turned heavy, ragged with confusion. Then tell me, how could some corporation steal what I built? I have every paper, every bill, They didn't steal it. Then who I did. Another pause. I could hear him swallow hard. What did you say? Sterling Properties is mine. I bought the house 3 years ago when your company defaulted on the mortgage. He laughed once, short and bitter. You don't lie to me. You work at some little tech company. You drive that old car. I drive a 2018 Toyota because it's reliable. I said. And yes, I work in tech. I own Sterling Tech Solutions. He went silent again. The weight of it pressed through the phone line. You're saying you bought our home behind my back? He finally asked. I bought it to save it. The bank was days from foreclosure. You had no right. I had every right. I said, sharper than I meant. You were going to lose everything. I just made sure you didn't. His voice dropped, low and wounded. You think this makes you better than me? No, it makes me the one who kept a roof over your head. The line crackled with his anger, then broke with something smaller. Fear. Maybe. You should have come to me. I tried. Remember, you told me to stop wasting time with my computer fantasies. He didn't answer. I softened my tone. We need to talk. Tonight. You and Mom. I'm not interested in whatever game you're playing. It's not a game. Dad. It's a conversation that's 10 years overdue. The silence that followed was different this time, heavier, exhausted. What time, he asked. 7, I said. I'll send the car. He hung up without another word. I sat there for a moment, phone still in my hand, hearing the echo of his pride collapsing into disbelief. Then I whispered, now you know who Sterling really is. After he hung up, I stared at my phone until the screen went dark. The silence in the office felt heavier than usual, thick with everything unsaid. Maya appeared at the doorway, holding a folder. Mayor Harrison confirmed the meeting for tomorrow. She said, Do you want to reschedule, no? I replied, We'll keep it. Tonight's just personal business. Her eyes searched mine for a moment. Do you want me to stay late? I'll manage. When she left, I opened the Sterling Tech Project dashboard. Lines of progress reports scrolled past predictive traffic systems, AI safety platforms, government contracts worth hundreds of millions. All of it built while my parents believed I was struggling to pay rent. I pressed the intercom. Marcus, can you come in? My driver stepped inside tall, composed, always quiet. Yes, Miss Carter. I need you to pick up my parents tonight. 7 o'clock sharp, Maple Street. He hesitated slightly. The same Maple Street as yes. That one. Bring them to the Metropolitan downtown. Of course. Use the Tesla? I added. They're not used to downtown parking. He nodded. Understood. As he left, I felt the old ache return years of conversations that never reached the truth. I had spent half my life trying to make them proud, the other half proving I didn't need to. The clock on my desk read 6:20. I closed every file, cleared my desk, and stood. The reflection in the window showed a version of me my parents had never met a woman who built things they couldn't see. I whispered, Time to let them see. The phone buzzed again. A message from my mother this time. Your father says we're going. Please don't make this worse. I typed nothing back. I picked up my coat instead. Tonight would not be about revenge. It would be about recognition. Marcus opened the car door and stepped back. My parents climbed out slowly, dressed as if for church. My father's jaw was set. My mother's fingers were twisted together. Good evening, I said. My father nodded once. Let's get this over with. Inside, the maitre d' greeted me by name. Your table is ready, Miss Carter. My father's eyes flicked to me. They know you here. I come often. I said, It's close to my office. We sat. A server poured water. The room hummed with quiet conversation that had nothing to do with us. My mother leaned forward first. Your father says the house is not ours. That cannot be right. I kept my voice steady. It is right. My father scoffed. This Sterling company bought it behind our backs. I bought it, I said, through Sterling Properties. He stared hard. You expect me to believe you had that kind of money. You never asked what I do. I said, You decided first. I know what you do. He snapped. You play with computers and call it work. I slid a creased envelope from my bag and set it between us. You wrote this when I asked for a small loan. He didn't touch it. My mother reached instead, unfolded the paper, and read aloud. Voice small. Stop embarrassing yourself with those computer fantasies. My father's mouth tightened. I was trying to wake you up. I was already awake. I said, I had a full scholarship to Stanford. I told you in the kitchen the day Ryan announced his engagement. You told me not to show off. My mother blinked fast. You went to Stanford with a full ride. I said, then a master's. I started Sterling Tech with $15,000 and a folding table. I worked 18 hours a day for the first year and slept on the floor of my office. That was before the first real contract came. My father shifted. What contract? Henderson Manufacturing. 2.3 million. After that, the team grew from 1 person to 12, then into dozens. We built predictive systems that keep goods moving, lights on, streets safer. The city noticed. The state noticed? He shook his head. You should have told us. I tried. I said, you changed the subject every time. He pointed at the envelope. That letter was 10 years ago. It was a map of every conversation after it. I said, when your company fell behind, the bank prepared a foreclosure. I bought the mortgage. I kept the taxes current. I redirected your payments into a retirement fund in both your names. My mother whispered. You paid the bank. I bought the note. I said. Then I kept you in your home. My father leaned in, voice low. That wasn't your decision to make. It was when the bank was 30 days from taking the house. I said. It was when suppliers were calling and your name was on every overdue line. He flinched. You have been spying on us. I watched the same public filings any lender watches. I said. Then I chose not to let our name collapse. He pushed back from the table. You controlled us. I protected you. I said, quietly, because your pride was louder than my warnings. My mother reached across and touched the envelope. You could have told me. I did, I said softly. Just not with words you were willing to hear. A server approached with menus. My father waved him away. The server retreated without a sound. My father breathed hard through his nose. You think all this makes you better? No, I said. It makes me responsible. For what? He said, biting off each word. For the roof over your head, I said. For the contracts that kept your trucks moving when payroll ran thin. Henderson built their warehouse with your crews because I vouched for you. I asked 2 other companies to advance payment so your books would balance before year end. You took the checks and called it luck. He stared. That was you. It was. I held his gaze. I did not want credit. I wanted you safe. Safe from what? He said. Quieter now. From losing everything and pretending you had not, I said. From the kind of ruin that erases a man's name. My mother's voice cracked. Why didn't you let us thank you? Because you would have refused the help if you knew it was mine, I said. And because I was tired of asking for permission to keep you standing. He looked down at the letter. The edge had frayed where my thumb had worried it 1,000 times. He reached for it, then stopped, as if the paper might burn. Say you did all that, he murmured. What do you want from us now? I want the truth in the same room as us, I said. I want you to stop calling what I built a fantasy. He glanced toward the window, where the skyline threw its pale reflection across the glass. You own floors in that building, 40 through 45, I said. The rest are leased out. He swallowed. And the car. And the people who know your name here. They know it because I show up. I said. They say it because I do the work. My mother exhaled. A small sound like surrender. I did not know how far you went. You were busy. I said. There was always a shower, a dress, a speech for Ryan. My father flinched again. Leave your brother out of this. He is not the point. I said. You are. He lifted his eyes to mine. Something in him had dropped away, an armor plate unfastened. A rank surrendered. I built this family, he said. But the words had lost their iron. You did, I said. And when the beams cracked, I held them up. His hands folded around the letter at last. He pressed it flat with a palm, as if smoothing a wrinkle too old to name. Wine trembled in his glass. He did not lift it. You think you're the builder, I said, not unkindly. But I was the foundation. My father sat back, eyes fixed on the letter in front of him. The color had drained from his face, leaving only a trace of disbelief. You bought our debt, he said quietly. I did. You paid the taxes, the suppliers, even the bank. Yes. He pressed a hand to his forehead. Why didn't you tell me I tried? You called it meddling. You said I should stop pretending to be a savior. His voice rose again, but it cracked halfway through. You went behind my back. You made me feel like a fool. I leaned forward. I went behind your pride. That's what kept you from asking for help. He opened his mouth, but no words came. The air between us held the sound of everything we had never said. You saved me, he whispered at last. I saved the family name. I said, you would have lost the house, the company, and every ounce of dignity. I couldn't watch that happen. His eyes glistened. All this time I thought you hated me. I never hated you. I hated how small you made me feel. He looked at my mother. Her hand trembled on her glass. Linda, he said, voice breaking, our daughter saved us. My mother nodded, tears spilling freely now, and we didn't see her doing it. I reached into my bag and pulled out a folder. I slid it across the table. Inside is the deed to the house, and the statements from your retirement fund. He didn't touch it. Retirement fund. Every mortgage payment you made went into a trust in both your names. It's just under $89,000, yours to use however you need. He stared at me as if trying to reconcile the daughter he had dismissed with the woman sitting across from him. Why, he asked, voice raw. Because love doesn't stop when pride gets in the way, I said. It waits until you're ready to see it. He lowered his head into his hands. My mother reached over and touched his shoulder. For the first time that night, he didn't pull away. My father lifted his head slowly, eyes red, voice stripped of the fight that had filled every word before. What happens now? He asked. I opened the folder again, pulled out the documents, and laid them flat between us. The house is yours to live in as long as you want, I said. When you decide to sell, the proceeds are yours. The mortgage payments you thought you were making built a retirement fund $89,000. It's under both your names. My mother covered her mouth. Evelyn, we don't deserve this. You don't have to deserve it, I said. You just have to accept it. My father's fingers shook as he traced the line that bore my signature. And the company? It's debt-free. I settled the accounts through Sterling Financial. 3 new contracts are already lined up. The cruise can start next month. He blinked, disoriented. You did all that. I did it quietly, I said, because I didn't want you to feel owned. I only wanted you safe. He leaned back in his chair. How can I repay you? Start by believing I earned my place. I said, stop introducing me as your daughter who plays with computers. Stop apologizing for me to people who never built anything themselves. He met my eyes for the first time that night. You're right, he said, voice unsteady. I owe you an apology. You owe me respect, I said gently. That's enough. My mother reached across the table, her hand closing over mine. We were wrong. Evelyn, we thought we knew what success looked like. We didn't. I squeezed her fingers lightly. It's not too late to learn. The server returned with the check, but none of us reached for it. My father exhaled. The sound somewhere between relief and shame. You've given us back everything, he said. No, I said. I gave you back the truth. The rest was already yours. Marcus was waiting by the entrance when we stepped outside. My parents followed me silently, the air between us lighter but fragile. He opened the car door, and my mother hesitated before sliding in. The city moved past in flashes of light and glass. My father stared out the window, hands clasped tight. All these new systems, he said slowly. The traffic lights, the billboards, they work better than they ever did before. They should, I said. Sterling Tech designed them. He looked at me, eyes still trying to adjust to the truth. You did that. My team did, I answered. I just made sure they had the chance. My mother reached for the seat beside her, voice soft. It's beautiful. Evelyn, the city feels alive. It's efficient. I said. I wanted to build something that made life a little easier for everyone. My father turned toward me. You built more than that. His voice cracked slightly. You built what I couldn't. I didn't respond. The hum of the electric engine filled the silence. When we stopped at a light, he spoke again. I spent years thinking you'd wasted your potential. Turns out, I was the one who couldn't see it. I met his reflection in the glass. I didn't need you to see it, Dad. I just needed you to stop pretending it didn't exist. He nodded, slow and heavy. My mother reached across the seat, resting her hand over his. We'll do better, she whispered. As the car turned onto Maple Street, the house came into view, quiet, familiar, no longer a wound. My father breathed out, almost a sigh. You saved our home. I did, I said. Now it's time for you to live in it. The next morning, sunlight slipped across my desk as my phone buzzed. One new message. Dad, thank you for saving our home. Thank you for saving our dignity. Can we start over? I read it twice before replying. Me. That's what family does. Dad, we take care of each other even when it's not appreciated. A few minutes passed. Another message came. Dad, tonight, your mother's making dinner. Just the three of us. No talk about business. I smiled faintly. Me, I'll bring dessert. I set the phone down and turned toward the window. From the 43rd floor, the city pulsed with quiet order, traffic lights shifting in perfect rhythm. Systems I had built, running beneath everything. Marcus's voice came through the intercom. Your next meeting's in 20 minutes. I'll be there, I said. I picked up my coffee, watching the reflection in the glass, my face, the skyline, and somewhere in that blur, the old house on Maple Street. My phone buzzed one last time. Dad, we're proud of you. I whispered the words aloud, soft and certain. I know. Then I turned back to work.